If you are over 60 in South Africa, there is a real chance you could be missing out on money that is rightfully yours. Every single month, thousands of seniors either don't know they qualify for certain SASSA grants or simply aren't aware that they can receive more than one type of assistance at the same time. This is not about fake promises or maybe benefits, this is about real, government-approved grants that are already being paid out to people just like you, and it could be the boost you need to make life a little easier. You see, many South Africans who are over 60 know about the old age grant, the pension that SASSA pays monthly to help cover living expenses. But what a lot of people don't realize is that depending on your situation, you could qualify for a second grant alongside it. That means more money coming into your household every month, legally and without affecting your existing old age grant. And with the rising cost of food, electricity, transport, and medical needs, that extra amount could make the difference between struggling through the month or living with a bit more comfort and dignity. For example, if you are caring for a child or a grandchild, or even an adult dependent with special needs, you could qualify for an additional grant known as the foster child grant, child support grant, or even the care dependency grant. In some cases, you could also apply for a grant in aid, a payment given to seniors who need full-time care and support from another person. And here's the truth, SASSA will not come knocking on your door to tell you about these benefits. If you don't know they exist, you simply don't get them. The good news is that applying for a second grant is not as complicated as many believe, and you don't need expensive lawyers or agencies to do it for you. You can apply directly through SASSA, for free, and if you meet the requirements, you could start receiving that extra money within weeks. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly who qualifies, how the application process works, what documents you'll need, and how to make sure your application is approved as quickly as possible, so you don't leave a single rand unclaimed. Alright, let's get straight into the details, because I know when it comes to SASSA grants, there's a lot of confusion, plenty of rumors, and unfortunately, far too many people missing out on money they could be receiving every single month. The truth is, once you turn 60 in South Africa, you enter a stage of life where the government has specific financial support systems in place for you. But here's the catch, if you don't understand exactly how they work, you could easily end up getting less than you are entitled to. That's why today I'm going to walk you through, step by step, how you could qualify for not just one, but two SASSA grants at the same time, and how to make sure your application goes through without delays. Now, most people over 60 have at least heard of the old age grant, also called the pension. This is the main support for seniors in South Africa, and it's meant to help you cover your day-to-day expenses. But here's what many don't realize, SASSA allows certain individuals to receive another grant alongside their old age grant. This is not a loophole or a trick. It's built into the system, and it's there because some people have extra responsibilities or extra needs that require more financial support. The problem is, unless you actively apply for that second grant, you won't get it. SASSA isn't going to send you a letter saying, hey, we think you might qualify for more money. They will simply keep paying what you already get, and that's it. So, who exactly can get these two grants at the same time? Well, it depends on your personal situation. If you're over 60 and taking care of a child, whether it's your own child born later in life, a grandchild whose parents can't support them, or even a foster child, you may be able to claim an additional child support grant or foster child grant. This means you still get your old age grant for yourself, but you also get a separate grant to help you look after the child. And it doesn't matter if you are the biological parent or not, what matters is that you are the primary caregiver, the one responsible for making sure that child has food, clothing, and a safe place to live. Another group of seniors who can get a second grant are those who need full-time care themselves. Maybe you've reached a stage in life where you can't bath, cook, or move around without help. In that case, you may qualify for the grant in aid. This is an extra payment added to your old age grant to help you pay for the person who takes care of you, whether that's a family member, a neighbor, or even a professional caregiver. A lot of people don't know about this one, and because of that, they struggle to pay for the help they need, when in reality, SASSA could be giving them extra money specifically for this purpose. Now, let's talk about why so many people miss out on these grants. One big reason is misinformation. There's this common belief that once you're getting the old age grant, you can't get anything else from SASSA. That's not true. While it's correct that you can't get two different grants for yourself at the same time, for example, you can't get both the old age grant and the disability grant, you can get a second grant if it's for someone you care for, or for a special need like full-time care. Another reason people miss out is fear of the application process. They think it's going to be complicated, full of paperwork, and that SASSA officials will make it difficult. And yes, the process can be a bit frustrating if you don't know what's expected, but once you understand exactly what documents you need and how to prepare, it becomes much simpler. If you're thinking of applying, the first thing to know is that you'll need to prove you qualify. For the old age grant, you have to meet the means test. That's SASSA's way of checking your income and assets to see if you need the grant. They look at how much money you make each month, whether you're single or married, and what property or savings you have. If you pass the means test, you get the grant. For the second grant, like the child support grant, foster child grant, or grant in aid, you have to provide additional proof. That could be a child's birth certificate, a court order if the child is in foster care, medical records if you need full-time care, or proof that you are the one responsible for the person receiving the grant. Once you have your documents ready, you apply directly at your nearest SASSA office. And this is important, you do not need to pay anyone to help you apply. There are people who pretend to be agents and promise to speed up your application if you pay them a fee, but that's a scam. SASSA does not work with private agents. Applications are free, and you can either go in person or in some cases apply online, though for the second grant it's often better to go in person so you can hand in your documents directly. When you get to the SASSA office, you'll fill in an application form with the help of a SASSA official. They'll ask you questions about your income, your living situation, and in the case of the second grant, about the person you're claiming for. It's important to answer honestly, because giving false information can lead to your grant being stopped or even having to pay the money back. After you submit your application, you'll get a receipt. Keep this safe, because it's proof that you applied. Then, SASSA will process your application, which usually takes a few weeks, though sometimes it can be longer if they need more information. Now here's where patience comes in. Many people get frustrated waiting and end up abandoning the process, but that's a big mistake. If you don't hear back within the expected time, follow up. Go back to the SASSA office with your receipt, or call the helpline to check the status of your application. If your application is approved, you'll start receiving your payments either through your SASSA card, direct into your bank account, or via cash pay points. And here's something else you should know: once your second grant is approved, it's paid every month, just like your old age grant, and you don't have to keep reapplying unless your situation changes. Of course, there are times when SASSA rejects applications. This can happen if you don't meet the requirements, if your documents are incomplete, or if there's missing proof. But even if you get a rejection, that's not the end of the road. You have the right to appeal the decision within 90 days, and if you can provide extra evidence to prove you qualify, your application can still be approved on appeal. The key is to stay persistent and not let the process discourage you. One thing I have to mention, because it catches a lot of people off guard, is that SASSA sometimes does reviews of your grant. This means they'll ask you to come in with updated documents to prove you still qualify. If you don't respond to the review request, they can suspend your grant. So, it's always a good idea to keep your paperwork up to date, your ID, the child's birth certificate if you have one, medical reports if you're claiming grant in aid, so that if they call you in, you can sort it out quickly and keep your payments going. The reality is, life is getting more expensive in South Africa. Pensioners are feeling the pinch more than anyone else. Prices of groceries, electricity, transport, and healthcare just keep climbing. That's why understanding and accessing every bit of support available to you is so important. That second grant could mean a full fridge, being able to buy your medication without stress, or having the money to pay someone to help you at home so you can live with dignity and comfort. What's even more important is spreading this information. So many seniors live in rural areas or small towns where news about these grants doesn't reach them. Some rely on word of mouth, and unfortunately, there's a lot of wrong information floating around. If you know someone who's over 60, caring for a child, or needs help at home, tell them about this. Share what you've learned today. Because the truth is, the system is there, it's not perfect, but it can make a difference if you know how to use it. And finally, remember this: these grants are not charity. They are your right as a South African citizen or permanent resident who has contributed to the country in your own way over the years. You've paid taxes, you've worked, you've raised families, you've built communities. The old age grant and any additional grants you qualify for are simply the government's way of giving back some of what you've already put in. So, don't feel shy or guilty about applying. If you meet the requirements, claim what's yours. You've earned it. If you follow through with what we've discussed today, prepare your documents, and approach the application process with the right information, you could soon be receiving not just your old age grant, but a second grant alongside it. And that extra bit of financial breathing room can go a long way in making your later years a little more secure, a little less stressful, and a lot more comfortable. This is about living with dignity, and knowing you're getting every cent you deserve from the system you've supported your whole life.